So the context is that we are soon going to announce the GCCC certifications examinations in India. And it's most likely to be on the 27th of February. I'm just admitting one more person, Sandeep. The last Saturday of next month. Welcome, Sandeep. And that's the reason why we thought that this would be the most appropriate time to have a discussion on what the certifications are. Also hear from people who have taken the examination and been on the other side, like the proctor side. And so let's welcome the speakers. First of all, Sia. Thanks, Sia, for being for joining this, and thanks for doing this for us today. Sia is the immediate past president at IABC Victoria. She is also the director at IABC Asia Pacific, and now sits on the Global Communication Certification Council. And that's the reason she's the best person to hear from about GCCC certifications. And congratulations, Sia. In 2020, she was named IABC's Chapter Leader of the Year as the best chapter. She's based in Melbourne.
Thank you.
Welcome, Sia. We also have Kristy. Kristy, as you know, is the chair of IABC APAC. She's based in Malaysia. She's just certified herself as SCMP, the latest certification. The person on this call who has certified as SCMP, so she will talk about her experience of taking the exam. She is an international speaker and very much into technology that enables communication, including AI, analytics, and the different web technologies, right? And of course, you know Dr. Colonel Rajeev Kumar. He is ABC. So ABC used to be accredited business communicator, which used to be the earlier avatar of SCMP or CMP, if I'm not wrong. And he's also an IABC fellow. There are only 2 IABC fellows in India, and Rajeev is one of them. He's a Fulbright scholar, a PhD, right now a consultant in strategic communication management. He's an author, speaker, and also a visiting faculty at the Indian Institute of Management in Ahmedabad, and has also been an IABC past chair. It's a great pleasure to have all of you amongst us. And welcome also Parul. Parul Chand is the editor of prmovement.in, which is a prominent news website on PR and communications. Other than that, we welcome everybody, Avanti, Sukanya, Devlina, Piali, Sandeep, and Fazil Yunus. So over to you, Sia.
Thank you, Suba, for that lovely introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Greetings from Melbourne, Australia. I'm just going to share my screen, so just give me 1 second. Alrighty. So today I'm going to talk to you about that next step in your professional development journey. And I want to start with why you should seriously consider getting certified, what that means to you as a communication professional, what that means to your organization, to your leaders, and what does that mean to the communication profession to get certified in communication. So I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of certification. I'll explain what certifications are available through the Global Communication Certification Council, or GCCC. We'll even look at a couple of practice questions, which is something I get asked all the time, what's on the exam? And I'll talk to you about the steps to becoming certified. So what you need to do to prepare to sit the exam and then maintain your certification, because unlike the previous accreditation program that IABC had, certification is based on ongoing, continuing ongoing professional development. And so you need to maintain your certification, okay? So we'll start with why you should get certified. Meet Christine Elmer, my very good friend who is based in Melbourne, Australia. And she sits on the board of IABC Victoria with me. So certification is really a way to elevate your value and visibility in your organisation and in the communication profession. It's a way to stand out. The GCCC was developed by the IABC to promote a common global understanding of what constitutes professionalism and competence in communication. And I think that's what's been missing from our profession for a long time, and that is a consistent benchmark of strategic communication excellence. Meet Elvira Maki from Indonesia. Look, let's face it, if we've learned anything through this global pandemic, is that it's no longer good enough for communication professionals to just know communication. Consistent standards and an ongoing focus on professional development ensures we stay relevant, ensures we continue to sharpen our practice, and is really external validation that you have the skills and the knowledge to succeed in your career as a communication professional. Meet Geneviève Hilton from Hong Kong. If you want a competitive advantage, then you have to get certified, okay? Research indicates you are 3 times more likely to get shortlisted by a recruiter if you have a professional certification, okay? More than 50% of certified professionals are promoted within the first 6 months of getting a certification. One of the best stories I ever heard comes from Noelle Freeman, who sits on the board of IABC Tulsa in the US, and she was contacted by 2 different recruiters to talk about 3 different positions they thought she'd be a good match for when they saw that she had updated her profile to indicate that she had been successful in gaining her SCMP certification. And she strongly believes that that is what set her apart from other similar candidates. And there are there are something like 80 stories on the GCCC's blog on our website. So if you're interested in hearing about motivations and what certification can do for you, I encourage you to have a look at the GCCC's website. In addition, certified professionals are more than twice as likely to receive regular pay rises, and 6 out of 10 received a pay rise within the first 6 months of getting certified. Also, those with a bachelor's degree or higher combined with a professional certification earn 18% more per week, and on average, certified professionals earn 29% more per week than their non-certified peers. So the research is quite compelling, okay? Meet my very good friend, Adrian Cropley, who's also based in Melbourne, Australia, okay? GCCC certification carries the same meaning and weight wherever you go in the world, okay? So when the world opens up again, it could give you the keys to living and working in your dream job in your dream city around the world, okay? Our certification program is the only professional certification program developed to conform to ISO standards, in this case, ISO 17024, which is the benchmark and requirement for organisations providing the certification of individuals. You may have heard that in August last year, IABC and the GCCC was successful in achieving ISO accreditation on the SCMP certification, which I'll tell you about in a sec, through ANSI in the US. And we are shortly going to make the same application for the SCMP certification. There is no other communication organisation in the world that can make that claim about their certification program, okay? So the idea of appealing to a global job market, to coming up with consistent standards of communication excellence that apply across the world based on rigorous ISO standards sets the GCCC apart and will set you apart as a communication professional. Meet Mari Barton, she's also based in Melbourne. GCCC certification is based on the global standard of strategic communication excellence. That is a common body of business communication knowledge that was developed by leaders in IABC, and the global standard inspires, or should inspire, the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we act as strategic communication professionals. So getting certified demonstrates that you have professional competence in 6 domains: acting ethically, following strategy, conducting analysis to support your work, providing context about your organisation's internal culture and external environment, engaging with your audiences and stakeholders, and providing a consistent story for internal and external audiences, which is something that we have become intimately familiar with during this global pandemic. So let's have a look now at what certifications are available through the GCCC. And there are two certifications that are available. The first is the Communication Management Professional, or CMP, and that was launched by the GCCC in 2015. And that certification is for those who are established in their careers as communication professionals and are looking to demonstrate their competence. And to be eligible to sit for the CMP exam, you need to demonstrate either at least 8 years of communication experience plus 40 clock hours of training, or 6 years of communication experience, 2 years of education, plus 40 clock hours of training. Now, I just want to make a couple of points around the education and the training for the CMP. The years of education don't have to be in a communication discipline, okay? So if you have a Bachelor of Business, for example, that is absolutely fine, as long as your years of experience are in communication. In addition, if your education is recent, within the last 2 years, okay, that may cover you for both training and education, okay? But if in doubt, please email the GCCC and we'll be more than happy to discuss that with you, okay? So that is the CMP certification. The second certification is the SCMP, or Strategic Communication Management Professional, which is the certification that I have. It's a certification that Christy has. And that is for more senior communication professionals who are skilled and practiced in providing strategic communication advice and counselling to their organisation's leadership. To be eligible to sit the SCMP exam, you need to demonstrate at least 11 years of experience in communication, plus 20 clock hours of training. The additional requirement for SCMPs is that you need to provide a letter of recommendation from a mentee or an organisation for which you've done pro bono work that addresses senior level contributions to communication. Now, this is not about managing people, so it doesn't include your direct reports. It is about mentoring others or coaching others. When I sat this SCMP exam, I provided a letter of recommendation from a charity with which I'd done work for, because in my job as a consultant, I do a lot of pro bono work. But if you are on the IABC India board, for example, or any other Communication Association board, that is absolutely acceptable to include a letter from your colleagues or the president of the chapter to indicate that you have done pro bono work with that chapter, okay? So they're the two types of certifications that are available, and the training has to have occurred within the last 2 years, okay? Now attending this 1 hour webinar is 1 clock hour of training that you can add if you are thinking of pursuing certification, okay? So let's take a look now at what the exam experience is like. So for each exam, CMP or the SCMP, you have up to 3 hours to complete the exam. Now, when you attend the exam, you will need to bring your own device. That's either a laptop or an iPad. I wouldn't encourage you to use a phone to do this. So you'll need some sort of device that you can comfortably sit at a desk and use, and you have up to 3 hours, okay? So each of you will have a timer. That is, you'll have a login, a personal login. You'll log into the application, and then your timer will begin, okay? So you have up to 3 hours. That doesn't mean you have to stay for the full 3 hours. I finished in 2 hours. I've seen others finish in less, but you, by all means, if you want to stay for the full 3 hours, you absolutely can, okay? But you have 3 hours to complete it. Each exam includes 100 multiple choice questions, and I'll tell you about the domains in which you're benchmarked against in a moment, but each exam includes 100 multiple choice questions. Right now, the CMP exam has a pass rate of about 66%, and the SCMP has a pass rate of around 88%. And globally, there are 272 certified communication professionals, so 141 CMPs around the world and 131 SCMPs around the world. For the CMP, you're measured against 5 domains, okay? And for the SCMP, you're measured against 6 domains. And as I just mentioned, each exam consists of 100 multiple choice questions. So we know that, for example, on the CMP, there are 20 questions on measurement, 7 questions on ethics, 21 questions on research analysis, and so on and so forth. As you can appreciate, the SCMP is a higher certification for more strategic communication professionals, and so naturally there will be questions there on advising and leading the business, management, and strategy development, okay? And if you want to know what's expected in each of those domains, the GCCC has produced a detailed job task analysis for each of those certifications. So there's a specific job task analysis for the CMP, and there's a second job task analysis for the SCMP that breaks down each of those domains and tasks into each of the domains into tasks and knowledge expected to be able to complete each domain, okay? And there are a number of practice questions available in the candidate handbook, which again is available on the GCCC's website. There's a 44-page handbook that includes a wealth of information about the programs, about how to prepare for the programs, and it includes a number of questions. I think there are around 15 questions, practice questions, for the CMP and SCMP exams. Additionally, there's a separate practice test for the CMP that's available as a separate link on the resources page of the GCCC's website. So there's lots of information out there. If you pass the exam, you won't get a score. You'll just get notification that you've passed. You'll get a certificate from the GCCC signed by the chair, who is currently Brad Whitworth. He lives in the US. You'll get to put the add the post nominals to your name, so you'll be known as Kristy SCMP, Papageorgiou SCMP, and the GCCC will add you to the website as one of the certificates around the world. If you don't pass, however, you won't. You'll get a breakdown per domain, okay? So if you don't pass, you won't actually be told which questions you got wrong, but what you will get is a breakdown per domain. So if, say, for example, on the CMP, you might get 15 out of 20 for measurement, okay? And by that, you'll know that you got 5 questions wrong, but you won't actually get told which 5 questions, okay? So from there, you can then start to map your professional development and look at the gaps in your learning, okay?
And the domains are like categories, right, Sia? Essentially that you can go through the job task analysis and see part of the category of measurement. These are the things that are measured, and that helps you with our preparation and just making sure that we improve wherever needed.
Absolutely. So as I said previously, the job task analysis breaks down each of the domains into tasks and knowledge. So it'll tell you what tasks and knowledge you're expected to have, say, in measurement. Okay. So, and then you can use that information to go and upskill if you feel that you need to. Okay. So as I said, I think at the beginning, I always get asked what's on the exam. Very common question. Can you please tell us what's on the exam? Well, I can't tell you what's on the exam. I can give you a couple of practice questions. So this is a practice question on their CMP. Okay, so the main foundation for developing a consistent business communication plan are A, mission, vision, and general goal. B, key performance indicators. C, previous marketing and communication plans. And D, knowledge of the audience's requirements. Let's have a go. What do you think? A, B, C, or D?
I will unspotlight you so that everybody is welcome to join in.
Can I see the chat? I don't know if I can.
I think if you come out of full screen, you should be able to.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
So if you can just put in the chat which one you think it is, A, B, C, or D. Anybody?
It's okay. Don't worry if about getting this wrong, because this is what the practice questions are for. That's
right. And you're absolutely correct. It is A. Oops. Let me just get that out of the way. Yes, mission, vision, and general goal. And we know that because as communication professionals, we need to produce communication that is purposeful and that aligns to the direction the business is heading. Okay. So yes, it is correct. That's A. Now we have a look at a practice question for the SCMP. So the SCMP questions are a little bit more scenario based. And so it pays to really listen and read well what the question is asking you. Okay, so it's the beginning of May. You work for a trade organisation that surveyed its members for feedback on a series of policy issues. A total of 300 members of the organisation of 15,000 answered the survey in January. You've been tasked by the General Manager to communicate the survey results to the press and make the results as appealing as possible for journalists. Of the following options, which one is unethical? Is it A, having visuals that accompany the release only illustrate a selection of the survey results? B, omitting the sample size in the release? C, presenting the results as April results? Or D, sending out the release to a selection of journalists that are known to cover the organisation's surveys favourably? Which one do you think it is? A, B, C, or D? Anyone else?
This is a tricky one. I know the first time I answered it too, I was like, which one? And I'm pretty sure the first time I answered it, I got it wrong too.
Yes, somebody just made a point. Very good point. All are unethical. However, there is only one correct answer. Okay. And so this is one of those areas, particularly ethics, where it's quite grey, and you'll think, okay, well, it could be A, it could be B, it could be C. Now, the actual answer is C. The correct answer is C. Okay, presenting the results as April results. Okay, because if we go back to the question, okay, they answered the survey in January. Okay, so presenting the results as April results is actually incorrect. Okay, and that is unethical, because if you go back to the IABC's Code of Ethics, it says that I am honest, okay, and I correct any misinformation and errors promptly. Okay, but that's a very good point that you made, because particularly in the SCMP, I've had feedback from a lot of certificates and myself, having gone through the exam, that some of the questions are very clear cut, and you'll think, okay, absolutely, it's A. I know that from my years of experience, that it's A. Other questions aren't so clear, and you think, okay, well, it could be A, it could be B. Okay. The best advice I ever got from a communication professional in the US, Cindy Schmeig, who was the ex-Gold Corps chair and a friend of mine, is that you should go for the most strategic answer. Okay, and in this case, the most strategic answer is C, presenting the results as April results. But again, I encourage you to have a look at the practice tests available on the GCCC's website. It's really good practice to go through them. I would go through both the CMP and the SCMP. The more questions you can answer, the more you get a feel for how they're worded, what kind of questions you can expect, particularly around those areas you may not feel so strongly in, okay? So that's an example of some of the questions on the exam. Now, let's have a look at what counts as training. So any skill-based courses that are offered by any type of business, non-profit organisations, anything that's offered by IABC, again, attending today's webinar counts as training. So that's 1 clock hour towards your training. Anything you do in an academic sense at college or university, any trade schools, all types of webinars, anything on demand, you know, as long as that can be verified. Now, I just want to make a point about verification. You've attended this webinar today. You've registered to attend this webinar. You no doubt received a confirmation in your inbox to say, thank you for registering for this webinar. That is your verification, okay? You don't have to provide a certificate of attendance or things like that. As long as you can verify that you registered and attended, if you attend face-to-face events that IABC and IABC India run in local cities, then you can add somebody's name there, or the president of the local area, or anything that verifies that you've attended that. So it includes courses, workshops, training sessions. Again, anything run by IABC at the international, the regional, or the local level, anything you do at work. So, and that would include leadership programs. So if you attend a leader, it doesn't have to be entirely on communication, but if you are going for the SCMP, for example, and you attended a leadership program on how to be a good leader, well, that absolutely can go towards your training, okay? Anything offered by a distance learning company, or anything you do in a university or academic setting, okay? Again, have a look at the GCCC's candidate handbooks, 44 pages of information that will help you prepare for the exam. One of the things I did when I was looking to sit the SCMP exam, which I did in 2018, and I'm really proud to say that I organised the first exam in Australia in 2018 at the Fusion Conference. And one of the first things I did was jump on the Hub. So for the majority of you who are members, you know what the Hub is. For those who aren't members, the Hub is our digital global online discussion portal, which is part of our member benefits, for advice from others who had actually done that before me. And this feedback from Malia Quill, who sits on the International Executive Board, really resonated for me, to me, because it confirmed what others had told me, which is you either know strategic communication or you don't, okay? And so if you familiarise yourself with the global standard of the communication profession, you read up on the Code of Ethics, you have a look at some Gold Quill case studies, and it's Gold Quill season again at IABC. So there's lots of information floating around about what is good practice, what is excellence in strategic communication. Start to look at those areas where you may not feel as strong in. So go back to the domains that I mentioned earlier, have a look at those domains. And as an internal communication professional, for me, that was reputation management, okay, because I've spent the majority of my career working in internal comms. So I did some extra reading on reputation management, and you should be fine. Another piece of great advice I received was, if you've qualified to sit the exam, you've tried some practice tests and you did okay, and you stay current with industry trends, you shouldn't have a problem, okay? And that gave me a lot of confidence, okay? Because to sit the exam, you actually need to make an application first. The GCCC assesses that application and says, okay, you are eligible to sit the exam. That's step one, but that's a huge step. And that says that you have the knowledge and experience. And go back to what I said earlier, you either know strategic communication or you don't. And if you've worked in comms for over 11 years, or at least 11 years, and you have professional development is at the center of everything you do, there is no reason why you can't pass this exam, okay?
And actually, Sia, in regards to professional development, you just got a question about when people have had internal training within their organizations or organized by their companies, would that qualify?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so the training to apply for the exam is based on clock hours, and I'll talk to you about maintenance in a moment, okay? Having said that, there are always those types of people who want to prep and want to study and want to read up, and I totally get that. So there are a number of resources that will help you do that. Probably the most well-known is the IABC's Handbook of Organisational Communication, which has a cost associated with it. You can download it in electronic format, you can buy it in hard copy format. That is actually being updated as we speak. I know Subo's contributing a chapter, Adrian's contributing a chapter, I read his, it's really exciting. So lots of fantastic IABCers who are contributing to that. So I'm not sure when that is coming out, but it is under construction now. The IABC Code of Ethics, the IABC Academy includes 2 refreshers, one for the CMP, one for the SCMP. So there are a number of on-demand courses you can do, depending on which certification program you are looking to participate in. The job task analyses I mentioned earlier have lots of information. You can read white papers about various communication disciplines like media relations, reputation management, internal communication, corporate social responsibility, and things like that. Catalyst magazine has a wealth of information. So that's our IABC online newsletter and content center, which is available on our website, and the GCCC's Canada Handbook. I just want to make a point about fear of failure, and I know probably Christy will talk about this when she talks about her experiences. Please don't let that prevent you from pursuing certification. I participated in certification in 2018, as I mentioned. I was the chair of professional development on the IABC Victoria board. I'd organised the first exam in Australia, and I was doing it at a conference, and everybody knew I was doing it. I was doing it with my colleague and friend, Adrian, and there were a number of other senior communication professionals who were doing it with us. I too was scared, and I thought, what if I fail? Everybody's going to know. And what I say to Christy and what I say to others, please don't let that prevent you from pursuing certification. All it says is that you still have a bit of learning to do, okay? And if we keep learning at the forefront of everything we do, doesn't that make us better communication professionals? And that's something we should be proud of, not scared of. So don't let that prevent you from sitting. Okay, I'm just conscious of time, so I just want to run through now the steps to becoming certified, okay? And I know that there's...
So yeah, just a quick time check. I think you have 5 to 7 minutes. Then we can go for. We also need to hear from Rajeev and then go on to the question.
Yep, sure. Okay, so these are the steps to becoming certified. So if you think you're ready for certification, the first step is to figure out which one is right for you, the CMP or the SCMP. So look at your experience, look at your skills, look about what kind of feedback you get, what your professional development plans at work and all that type of thing. Speak to your IABC chapter, speak to your mentors and your coaches. And once you've decided on which certification is right for you, you need to submit your application and pay the application fees. As I said earlier, your application has to be reviewed and assessed by the GCCC to be able to sit the exam. So in your application, you need to provide people that can verify your work history. It's not a reference. It's not asking for anything more than, did this person work in this role in this organisation in this time period? A yes or no is perfectly acceptable, okay? It is good practice and courteous to give that person a heads up and say, hey, I want to add you as a verifier on my application, if you can get in contact with them. So you'll need to make that application. You'll then need to prep for the exam. Okay, so the sort of stuff I just mentioned, review the GCCC study resources page, the job task analysis, and that type of thing. Sit the exam, and then you need to commit to your professional development, ongoing professional development. I just want to make a point about the application. The GCCC is usually pretty quick in approving applications, but on the website you'll notice it says your notification of approval can take up to 30 days. So if you are sitting the exam or thinking of sitting the exam on the 27th of February, I would encourage you to get your applications as soon as possible. Once you have made your application, you have 2 years to sit the exam. So you don't have to sit straight away. You have 2 years to sit, okay? This is what it costs to get certified. All costs are in US dollars. If you are an IABC member, it will cost you a total of $500 US to apply for and sit for certification, $100 to make the application, and $400 to apply for the exam. If you are a non-member, it will cost you $800, $400 to apply and $400 to sit. So it absolutely pays to be a member of IABC. It's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned, okay? And there's also a $100 US application annual certification maintenance fee of $100, and it applies regardless of membership status. So you'll need to factor that into your budget as well. I'd encourage you to speak to your employer to see if they can pay for your certification. Most organisations have a professional development budget. We have a template at the GCCC that you can use to approach your employer to pay for your certification. IABC Foundation also has gifts of excellence to people who want to pursue certification but find the cost prohibitive. And so look, it's relatively easy to make a good case to employers to say, I mean, the research says that those who have access to ongoing professional development are more engaged and perform better. And let's face it, in this global race for talent, which employer doesn't want that? So we will help you make a case. And as I said, we have a template that's ready to go. I promise you, this is how you're going to feel when you get your certification. Okay, I can't promise you it will look like that, but you will definitely feel like that. Okay, it's a wonderful feeling. You feel on top of the world, as I said earlier, you'll get a certificate signed by the chair of the GCCC. You'll be able to upload that onto your LinkedIn profile. At the GCCC, we're also working on an electronic badge that you can put into your signature block to indicate that you are certified, which is very exciting. So a digital signature. So it's an amazing feeling. My final point is around ongoing professional development. So certification is not a once-off exercise, okay? It's based on ongoing professional development. And that's what differentiates us from other communication professionals. The fact that we are committed to our professional development, the fact that we have to make a case for our professional development every year, okay? So to maintain your certification, you have to renew it. If you don't renew it and you let it lapse, you'll need to sit the certification exam again if that's what you want to do, okay? So you need to earn 40 professional development points per year to maintain your certification. So unlike the training for your application, which is based on clock hours, this is based on points, okay? So me making this presentation to you today, I get 10 points. Now, 10 out of 40, that's already a quarter of my allocation for the year, okay? I speak at a number of conferences and events during the year. I teach strategic communication management. I do a lot of reading. It's very easy to accumulate 40 professional development points, okay? So the GCCC's handbook includes a list of what points are attributed to each activity. But for example, as I said, today's making a presentation anywhere is 10 points. Going to a conference is 10 points. Writing a blog or writing an article, it's 5 points. So it's relatively easy to accumulate those points. I would have a look at the handbook for more detailed information. And as I said, there's a $100 fee for making your renewal. The GCCC will remind you every year, and you have a grace period. So there's usually a 3-month grace period. So my certification is up for renewal in September. I have till December to do it, and it's all done online. The only thing I will say is that no one category can account for more than 24 points. Okay, so if I can't include just presenting as part of my activities, I have to include other activities. Okay, so that is certification in a nutshell. I know we have questions at the end, so I won't go through those. I won't do those now. Here are my contact details. If you want to contact me directly, please feel free to do so. I'm also on WhatsApp, or check the GCCC's website, or email info@gccccouncil.org.
That was great, Sia, and thanks so much. I think that was so insightful and informative. Still people are joining in. Okay, Rajeev and Christy, we'll bring you at the end of it. I think let's take some questions because we see a long list of questions on the chat window. Whoever wants to go first, yeah, Piali, you have the latest question, so we can pop that in and ask.
Okay, I have two. Thanks. One is there a specific template by which mentees need to send their recommendations? Do they send it directly to the GCCC, or do they send it to me and I forward them? Does this have to be ink signed, or can it be a plain email? And what does it really need to say other than the fact that they know me in certain capacity?
Okay.
Second is, if the training is internal, then many a times companies don't really give you a piece of paper saying you're certified or you've attended. So what is it that you require which proves that you've done an internal training?
Okay, so thank you for your questions. They're great questions. So the first question, your mentee letter, it doesn't have to follow a specific format. However, if you are interested, we have a template for prepared for chapters. So I'm happy to pass it on to IABC India to share with members about what you could potentially write in your letter. It does not have to follow a certain format. All it needs to say is, so in your case with mentees, it needs to demonstrate that you have assisted that mentee in strategic communication. So go back to what I said earlier about senior level contribution. So as a mentor, you are expected to work with this person and increase their skills and knowledge and help them along their career journey, that type of thing. The letter has to be given to you, and you need to make it, you need to include it as a PDF in your application. So part of that application would be attach your letter here. And so you would attach your letter as part of your application. So the letter is written by the mentee, sent to you and made as part of your application. And in regards to internal training, you can make a note of a colleague who attended that training with you, or your manager who knew that you went to that training, and they can verify that you attended. You don't have to actually provide a verification email or anything like that. Does that answer your questions?
Yep. Thank you.
And actually, as a follow-up to that, Sia, Abanti asked earlier about the pro bono work. What is the duration of the work? Should it be, and does it have to be within 1 to 2 years of this application, like the training hours?
Not necessarily, no. So it doesn't have to be done in the last 2 years, but in terms of, sorry, what was the first part of that question, Christy? Can you repeat?
Yeah, sure. What is the duration of the work you should have done with this, the pro bono organization or charity?
No particular duration, just demonstrating that you have provided senior level contribution. So in my case, for example, I work with a charity, and I had helped them with a communication strategy, and so for a campaign, a specific campaign that they do every year. And so the charity indicated that I had developed a strategy for them. I had given them shared advice with them about the best approach to take, and I had worked with their stakeholders, something along those lines. Okay, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, and there was a great example from Sunita, who mentioned she had a letter of recommendation from the school or the college where she had been coming in as a guest lecturer. So I thought that was a great one as well.
No, that's a perfect example. Perfect example.
Any other questions?
Sukanya, you had a question?
Yeah, no, so some of them have been answered already, but on the pro bono part, yes. So like Sunita, so for example, if I have also given a few lectures in certain colleges on communication at a pro bono basis, I'm sure that holds as well, right?
Absolutely it does, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Fine. So we'll go to Parul. Parul, thanks for hanging on. Parul, you have any questions that you want to write about? You can ask.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a most interesting discussion. And I just have one question. The curriculum that you outlined in the test, the various areas, will it be modified to start including some of the new post-COVID demands, especially the use of digital and a very strong focus on integrated marketing and a very strong focus on public affairs and trust building?
Absolutely. So both exams are regularly updated. So the exam that I took in 2018 has since changed. We go through a process, I believe it's, if not annual, every second year. But please don't quote me on that, because I don't know. I have to check. But I know that I just participated in the SCMP review. And so those questions are reviewed regularly and updated to keep it fresh, okay, and current. And so
would that happen for
Mm-hmm.
would that happen for this year's certification?
For the what, sorry?
Would that happen for this year's exams? Would they be updated to reflect the changes that COVID has brought to communication?
So the SCMP has just been updated. So in the next review, then they will undertake a second review. But the global standard is the global standard. So there are, so that won't change. But I do know that the career roadmap and parts of that is being updated right now by IABC to become more current, because it's been a while since that was created. But if you have a look at the questions, and forgive me, I can't remember exactly the types of questions that are on there. There are questions about digital communication. There are questions about public affairs, which would fall under the broad domain. So for example, reputation management. And so the questions are very current, and they are, updated annually. I can find out some more detailed information if you wish, but I do know that the SCMP for a fact was just updated.
That would be useful if offline I can get some further information on how it's been updated, what are the new areas, etc.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Parul. Anyone else? You have any questions? Moushami, you just joined. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I don't know which all the questions were answered, but I'm still going to go out and ask. I applied for the grant. So I just wanted to know, will I get a, you don't qualify for a grant so that, I can go ahead and apply for the exam, or when will the mail or results be communicated?
The IABC, I'm not exactly sure of the IABC's foundation's processes. Christy might know.
Yeah, I will say that for the gift of excellence, Sunita, Moshmi, sorry, you should hear back from them probably by the end of February, between end of February to probably mid-March is when you would hear back. And I would expect them to actually reply to every applicant, and I'm happy to double check this for you.
Sure. Okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Shivasri, hi.
Hi. I have no questions particularly because I think, you have addressed most of the things. But I would say that this session has been very motivating to actually begin the process. And I would just say thanks to everyone who have organized and taken this session.
Thank you so much. That's lovely feedback. Thank you. And I hope you will seriously consider getting your certification in February, if not later.
Of course.
And just a point too, we can organise exams at any time. As long as we can find a proctor and a location, then we can organise as many exams as needed.
Sure.
Great,
Thank you.
great. So if we don't have any more questions, let's go to Christy first. Christy, if you could quickly share your experience of taking the exam, and so that this is very helpful for people who are at the moment planning to do so next month.
Sure. I will say that it's always so motivating to listen to Sia. She's a huge reason why people, after they hear it and then, understand some of the basic questions, they get it out of the way, you realize, hey, it's actually doable, and you've got such a supportive community behind you as well. Just before I go into how I prepped and took the exam, I will say that the first hindrance I found personally was, one, just getting to the application form and filling it in. But it's a standard PDF. It's not, I don't know why it's frightening, but it can be. Almost because the moment you open it, you feel, it's the fear of the unknown, I would say. So take a look at the PDF link. Sunita has actually shared the SCMP. There's a separate form for the CMP. Both forms are actually available on that page that I've just pasted in the chat. When I looked at the form, I was like, oh, that's easy. Okay, all right, I got this. And then I filled it out. But I will also say that most likely you will spend a bit more time just collecting the training information. The rest is not as hard. You generally have a CV or a resume you can update and just attach it with the PDF. The online form is very short because the PDF does most of the work, and then you're just uploading it into the online system. So the online system, you can go ahead and click and register. You don't even have to pay immediately. Just log in and take a look at it. And once you take that first step, it already starts getting you into the process of this. So I highly recommend opening the links today and taking a look at the PDF today while you're feeling motivated, because it can make a big difference. The second part is, once I put in my application, this was early of last year, I heard back so quickly. I think within a week or 2 weeks, GCCC replied and said, hey, you're approved to sit for the SCMP. And I was like, wow, that was fast. And then after that, COVID hit, and I was like, when am I going to sit for this exam now? And you also feel the pressure that we put on ourselves. Other people are not putting pressure, but you put the pressure on yourself. At least that's my case. And I started getting into my head and then worrying about it. So my application was approved, but then I faced the second thing of, oh no, but if I actually sit for the exam, I might fail. You find new obstacles that hold you back. And my additional thing was that I became chair of IABC Asia Pacific. I was vice chair when I put in the application, and then I became chair in June 2020. And by this time, the pandemic is happening, and now I'm chair. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be so embarrassing to fail as chair? It'd be so embarrassing. And then I start getting into my head again and worrying about, can I sit for the exam secretly? Nobody needs to know that I sat for the exam. But you know what? It turned out that that is completely not the right choice for me. The best thing was to actually talk to people about it. And this is something that I found it was incredibly helpful. to talk to people who had sat for the exam to understand what it is that they have faced. And that's why I'm hoping to do that with you today. Even if we don't get through to it completely today, and if you feel hesitant in the weeks going forward, please feel free to reach out. We have a midweek comms call that you're welcome to join and ask your questions as well. How I'm an over preparer. I like to study for my exams. I don't do well with just sit for the exam and see if you pass. That gives me a lot of anxiety and I will start panicking. So what I did was, even though yes, the SCMP in particular is very scenario based. So even if it was an open book exam, you can't find the answers on Google. It's not that kind of thing. But because you have the foundations and the principles in place, that makes all the difference. And for me, that came from reading as many of the Gokul case studies as I could. At first, when I first started reading it, I wasn't sure how is this going to help. But as I read case study after case study, and being an over preparer, I basically read, I think, every case study that I could find. There's about 100 of them. I went through every one. And by the time I was done with the first 10 or 20, I found myself reading these case studies and then seeing, oh, wait, they measured this is great, but you know what? They could have also measured this. You start to see other questions come into you, and you start reading these case studies now with almost this mind that's inquiring and interested in finding out, well, how could we have improved this further? What are the other areas that we could have considered, for example? They probably did do the work. It's just that you have very little information that you can put into your gold quill case submission. But it really helped me, I found, just reading it, even when you have no faith of anything going in, just read it. And I think 2 days ago, I told somebody, a case study a day keeps the anxiety at bay. That's my new tagline for anyone who is like, I don't have time to prepare. Just read one a day, and that helps go in and just start osmosizing, really, as my dad would say. But I read all the Gokul Case Awards. I did have the opportunity to also take a look at some of the materials and short courses that are available in the IABC Academy. But I would say the Gokul Case Awards were very helpful. The second thing I would recommend is actually looking at other case studies and awards that came from other organizations, including, for example, the organization that does the Barcelona Principles, AMEC, AMEC. They have case studies on their website as well. And that helps make sure that you have a holistic view of things, because you'll see from the job task analysis, measurement is incredibly important to everything we do. And it's not just measurement. It's not just, yeah, we should measure the hits on our website. Somebody gave me this tip, and that is go for the answer where the measurement is directly tied to the business outcome. Everything in the answers, every single answer will be measurable and will be something that you measure. But the right answer is the one directly tied to the business outcome. So I would say that when we read things like the AMEC case studies and you read the Gokul case studies, you'll start to pick up on the things that they found to be absolutely critical to their success of the campaign. That's how I prepped for it. I read through it. And when I finally decided, okay, I have to sit for the exam because I knew I'm going to be moving house. And once this year started, I just wouldn't have the time. I put in the application. I spoke to IABC Malaysia. We put in the application to host the exam. They can host the exam even for just one candidate, which was perfect because I was the only one in Malaysia who was ready to do it at the time. And when I sat for it, Sia mentioned it's 3 hours long. And she told me, Christy, nobody ever takes the full 3 hours. People finish it in as quickly as 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours. So you don't have to worry about, it's not the kind of exam where they're trying to use time to pressure you. It's not that at all. They really want to know. You just know your stuff. So I flagged questions that I did not know. And then I would go back to the beginning of the exam. After I finished the whole paper, I'll go back and see which questions did I flag and double check my answers, because I'm a double checker over preparer, right? So that's how I did it. Once I finished the exam, I got my results and I was really, really thankful that I passed. But I will say what helped me overcome that initial fear of failure and the fear of embarrassment and the fear of losing face was just that one, when I talk to people like Sia, they're incredibly encouraging. And Sia's words stuck with me because I told her, Sia, one of the things that helped me push forward was knowing, look, if I fail the exam, I can re-prepare. I will have a better idea of what to prepare, and then the exam resit amount is 100 US. And I was already prepared to budget that amount if necessary. That's how concerned I was about failing. And when she told me, Christy, don't even look at it that way. The fact that they've approved your application means you have what you need to pass the exam. The only question is getting used to just sitting for an exam again, getting used to understanding what it is in the question that they're actually asking you. Because as you saw in the sample scenario questions, there was a lot of facts. There's a lot of different lines there, but the one part that related to the correct answer was in the middle of it as well. So I would say yes, definitely. Sorry, Subo?
Yeah, thanks for that. Those tips.
No problem.
We just want to welcome Preeti and Vishal, who just joined. Do you have any questions? Preeti, Vishal?
Not right now. I'm just grasping what Christy is saying.
Okay.
So I'll
okay.
make my comments in case there's any.
Sure. Vishal?
Yeah, I think I seem to have missed out a major part of it. Actually, I'm driving on the highway, so I just stopped for a while to connect.
Thanks for joining. Anyway, so Christy, we'll move quickly to Rajeev.
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
Sure. Sir, you have been a proctor, and this is going to be an examination hall scenario, which is basically a proctor sitting, and so the participant is going to get a how is this conducted? So if you can give a visual description of how this looks like for somebody who's going to take this exam.
I think I must thank Sia and Christy. They've given very comprehensive picture of what the whole exam is all about. And I was the vice chair of the inaugural Global Communication Certification Council when we were moving from the ABC to the certification process. So I've seen this take birth, within IABC. So it's something which is a very favorite topic of mine, and I love to see it in practice today. And at the time that we designed the certification, our idea was to get ISO standard certification. And I'm so happy to see that it has achieved that. And normally you apply for ISO after a certain practice has been in practice for about 2 years. And then they see whether your process is working correctly or not. So it's very, very, encouraging, and makes me very happy to see that what we designed in the initial stages has been proved to be so effective. And I think the main thing that you all need to have is intrinsic motivation, the motivation from within your heart to improve and excel. And the second thing you need to remember is that the certification covers a holistic examination of your skills and abilities and thinking. And we get trained in a job, in a corporate job, in certain niche areas. And then we think that we are expert in that area. And we may not be, having equipment or knowledge about many other areas which the certification demands of you to have at least certain basic knowledge in different contexts and different situations. So there should be a willingness to learn. There should be an understanding, a humility to understand that there's far beyond your workplace experience that there is to capture. And so you must go with the certification to validate yourself to a global standard. I was the proctor about 2 years back in Bombay. There was a single applicant in India, and I proctored the exam in Bombay 2 years back. And proctor is the word used by IABC. In India, you would probably call it a supervisor of the exam primarily. So you get instructions from the GCCC on how to conduct the exam as a proctor. Primarily involves, earlier it used to involve getting the written examination paper from them and then releasing it to the candidate when the exam is held. But now it basically involves a login procedure. You get the code word which you give to the candidate, and he logs in for the exam. And that's how the exam takes place online in the presence of the proctor. So there is nothing very great about the proctor's role except sit there and provide an environment in which the candidate will sit and appear for the exam, also to help and facilitate him, but not to help answer the questions. You also ensure that there are no unfair means used, and you also find that you probably offer a cup of coffee or tea or some snacks to the candidate. That's the role of a proctor, primarily to ensure that everything runs smoothly, and the proctor provides the link between the candidate and the GCCC in case there is any problem, technical problem that may arise during the conduct. But a good Wi-Fi connection is the main thing, and one doesn't foresee any problem taking place at that time. So a lot of points have already been covered. As I said, you need to have intrinsic motivation and a willingness to learn and validate yourself, make yourself more equipped, and be proud of the certification process as you go along. All the very best to you.
Thanks, Rajeev. Any other questions, anybody, or anything that you want to discuss or bring up here?
Can I just make one point of clarification, because Mushmi has been asking some questions about online virtual. I just want to make a point of right now the GCCC's certification exams are run face-to-face. They're conducted online, as in you have to use a device and log in electronically and do it, but you need to be in a physical presence of a proctor, as Colonel Rajeev just said. What we're looking at now, and we will do this once we make the application for the ANSI accreditation of the SCMP, is to look into virtual proctoring. So you can get a login and do it at home and be supervised by a virtual proctor. That is going to take some time though, but it is something that is definitely on our radar and we're looking into it.
Great.
We had another question, Sia, and that's about the IABC Academy courses. How do they combine their training hours into the training credits? I know that there's a number of IABC Academy courses where it's pre-recorded webinars almost, and so listening to them is easy. How many hours you have listened to, it becomes the training hours. But for the ones where it's mostly reading, I think the communication model for excellence, for example, is a lot of more reading than listening. The listening parts are maybe 10 minutes each. I'm not sure how that translates into the training hours. Do you have an idea?
Look, there's probably no hard and fast rule around that. And Sarah Fowdy, who is the Senior Certification Manager, will assess your application. But I would say, I mean, if it takes you, there should be some indication in the training that it will take you maybe an hour to read this. Okay, so put an hour down.
No, you're right, Sia. Actually, every course, I believe, actually mentions how many credits there are. So most likely they can use that.
Yeah. But just don't forget to make the application is clock hours, for ongoing development is points.
Right. So I think we have answered all the questions. I have a question for all of you, or at least people who have shown interest in joining or signing up. Is February 27th a good time for you to take this, Sukanya, Sunita, Mashumi, if you are taking it, or you need more time? Because we haven't finally, finalized the dates yet, but we kind of shortlisted the date to be the last Saturday of next month.
Shubho, it works for me perfectly. I mean, it's a good, so based on everyone else, we can take a call, but it works for me.
Great. Yeah, and you can do it in Bangalore, you said? Right. Anyone interested who's made up her mind?
Shubho, I think, hi, this is Devlina. Sorry, I spoke over somebody. So I'm really interested in the SCMP, but I don't think I have anything pro bono to show as yet. So I will probably go with the SCMP now and do that later. So as a date, it works perfectly, but I won't be able to take the SCMP, which is my interest as of now.
Okay, good. Sunita, you were based in Bangalore? Yeah, I mean, if you're taking the exam, it'll be in Bangalore, right? Okay, fine. Great. So we will have centers in Bangalore as well as Bombay and Delhi. In Delhi, I'm there. Colonel Rajeev will be in Bombay, and Anisu will be in Bangalore, and that's the plan right now. So we have to formalize that, and the announcement will soon come up on the GCCC site.
Subha, I believe Moshmi wanted to say something. Moshmi, are you there?
Yeah, that's, I mean, I just typed it. No, I'm not based out of Bangalore. I'm in Chennai. So, and I also have a couple of clarifications on the pro bono front. So I'm going to listen to the session and then maybe get back. But yeah, I mean, if I'm able to figure out the logistics and if I'm prepared by then yes, I don't mind. But the later, the better for me personally. So, yeah, so but I'm good. But if sometime this year, like how Sia mentioned, there might be like a take your exam from home virtually in the presence of a proctor on a virtual mode again, then I'd rather wait for that, or I might just give this a pass because it's a little too early for me given the current situation here in India with the virus and things. So yeah.
Sure.
It's
Sandeep,
completely understand. Sorry, Subha, just quickly, it's completely understandable, Devlina, Moshmi. If you would like to wait until you have a better time in your schedule to submit the application, it might be worth just taking a look and seeing what the volunteering opportunities are right now. The easiest one would be, of course, be IABC, but I'm not trying to recruit you. Just take a look at whether there's any committees or task force or conference planning, something somewhere where it fits your schedule, it fits your talent, and it might be a good way to just get that ready so that in future when you want to submit the application, you've got that
sure
place you can fall back on.
I'll do that, Christy. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Thanks. Sunita, you're okay with appearing in the last week of next month, or do you need more time? We have Sandeep who's asking questions. Sandeep, you can go after this.
Shubho, was the question for me? Yeah, was that question for me?
I'm saying that, are you okay with the timeline, 27th February?
That's correct. So my aim is to kind of complete this maybe in the next 4 to 5 days in terms of finishing up the PDF and uploading it. So the moment I hear and if I'm good to go, then I'm good to take the exam.
Okay, great, fine. So we have some confirmed candidates, Christy. I think we will have to do another one for Moshmi and people like Sandeep. Sandeep, you want to speak up?
No, I just wanted that any date post June, July would be comfortable for me. As I mentioned that I have taken up currently a course and I have committed till March, like that requires a very rigorous course and requires around 18-20 hours. So till March, I am kind of quite booked, but I would have loved to take this exam. So any date, since this is a face-to-face exam that requires physical presence of the candidate. So any date post June, July would be good.
Okay, so we'll look at that. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Then I think any parting remarks from Kristy, Sia, Rajeev, anybody?
I do have a parting remark. Take a look at the PDF form today and just open it while you're feeling interested and motivated and see for yourself. It's very, very easy. And you can always submit your application now. And then after that, sit for the exam 6 months from there, because that's basically what I did. I got approved in February or March, and I only sat for the exam in December. Anyway, just do that. Take a look at the PDF form.
And I just want to say to best of luck. If you have any questions after today, please don't hesitate to contact me on LinkedIn or email me. Subha, I might, and Christy, I might share that presentation with you in PDF form so you can share it with everybody. I know it's on the recording, but if you want to just go through the PDF. I'll also send you the template to for your employers if you want to approach your employers to pay for certification.
Yeah, that'll be useful. Yeah.
So I'm more than happy to do that. But please, look, we're always here to support you. Anything you need, just reach out.
Great, yeah, thanks. Fazil, you help us with the newsletter, right? So maybe you can take up cues from here and also create a video for everyone to look back the recording basically. Okay, thanks. So thanks everyone. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Subho.
Okay. Bye.
Thank
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.